Welcome back, everybody, to the League of Inches podcast. Sorry, I've got to play the song as well. You know how it works now. Alrighty, a bit of a different look tonight. Got myself in the house. Got the Supercoach boys on, Jesse and Trav, who are coming in off a short run-up, short notice, helping us out tonight because the Martin brothers can't make it. They're off at a birthday dinner, so happy birthday there to it's Mika's daughter, so happy birthday to you. Hopefully you're watching and get the special shout-out. But yeah, we're always about that here. Always family first sort of stuff. So whenever someone needs a night or something off, we're always trying to fill in and do our best for everyone around here, which is what I love about our channel, our page, and the crew that we've got, and the community always gets around us. So get around us tonight. Get in the comments. I'll share it around and stuff as I introduce the boys in. As always, get involved. The more you get involved, the better quality of the show is. Because we always value your opinions, probably over our own, to be honest. So really cool to get your comments up and feature you on the show. But boys, welcome. Jesse, you've done it a few times. Trav, I think you've only had one so far, haven't you, for the Wednesday Lives? Or is this your debut?
Pop the cherry.
Nice. Oh, hang on. He's nervous. He's really feeling like a glove here. He's amazing at what he does, and great footy brain. Great at Supercoach. He often says he gives better advice than what he does himself. So he hopes he starts taking his own advice. But you at home would be reaping the benefits of that. So I know you're nervous then tonight, mate. Well, how we normally start the show, and I'll let you start the beginner's luck here. We normally talk about what caught our eye this week. I know you featured a lot of Olympics this week. If anyone forgot, the Olympics were on. We had Trav reminding us probably hourly at one point of the week. So what caught your eye this week, Trav? It can be on or off the field, footy or unfooty related.
I'll go footy related. What caught my eye is welcome back to the fullbacks of the competition. How nice is the NRL when our fullbacks are full guns blazing?
100%. I love it.
Just watch Turbo dominate the last couple of weeks, or not the last couple, but the last few weeks now that he's come back. Ponga's back, even though he played West, and they're horrible. But so everyone's doing that against them. But how good is it to see that? Pappenhausen had a brilliant game. Drinkwater was back up again. How much better is the NRL when our fullbacks are full going?
I agree with that, and it's the best time of year for him to be fit and firing as well. We seem to have gotten like the likes of Pappy back. Edwards is back this week. Turbo's just hate saying it. I don't want to jinx him, but dead set, he's the closest thing to being back that we've ever seen since those dreaded injuries run. Jesse, peeling the curtain back. We like to do that here. You've had a horrible day. We're here to lift you. So is everyone in the comments. I hope everyone gets around you. Pump you up for the next little bit. What caught your eye this week?
Judiciary is a big one. I think you can't really go past what's happened this week with the media and with the boys, with Flano biting the nose in, with Buzz's comments, with, I won't go too far into the troll things, but there's just this code is, oh man, there's never a dull moment. That's what it is. I'll just put it to that. There's always something. And I'd hate to be friggin'. Is it Abdo still in charge? He's always got something to answer for. Like, it's just.
He does.
God bless the bloke. It's just, you can only do so much. The code he starts getting in a really nice direction. And all of a sudden, something just puts it in a little bit of a spiral. And it's the NRL. It's what we love that game for. So, but yeah, that's just one thing. Just NRL stuff. I suppose off the field. You mentioned it. I've had a shocker of a day. I won't go too far into it. Thanks, Andrew. I'd appreciate a hug, mate. It was just, you just can't please some people. That's what I'll just say. And you do your best. That's it. You can always do your best. And that's all it can come down to. But, not everyone will be happy all the time. But yeah, I'll just leave it there. There's not too much point going any further in it. It'll get better.
Legality reasons for yourself. I just we'll let you stop there. For me, there is a footy one, but I'll go on after that because it can probably be our first talking point, which my dad has actually raised, and I left it off our run sheet, but I guess we probably should touch on it a little bit, but we won't be able to say too much on the on the situation. But for mine off the field and what's caught my eye this week, it's my status. Ray gun, eh? The Olympics were honestly, how good was the Olympics this year? I know it was a painful time, and my missus hated it because I slept on the lounge for most of it, and she gets cold very easy, so she doesn't like having the bed to herself. Luckily, she had this little boy in with her for a lot of it, but I literally just plumped myself on the lounge, fell asleep whenever I fell asleep, and if I woke up at weird times of the night, I'd stay up for a little bit, watch whatever, then I'd fall back and sleep. I was having the worst sleeps and stuff, but it was all for a good cause, all for supporting our Aussies, which had a record run, so shout out to them. But dead set, I know she's getting a following now, and it's quite funny. Like, I laughed and thought it was an absolute piss take when I first seen what she was doing. But Ray gun, honestly, how that is in the Olympic Games to start with, breakdancing is just got me beat. I look at some of these other athletes and the huge feats that they achieved at those games, and I think rock climbing was like a new one there this year. But I even watched that, and that was sensational. Like, that was really good and physically demanding and stuff. Like, this was honestly, she was doing a kangaroo. She was on the ground, just who knows what she was doing, a flying V shape on the ground. Like, I've seen honestly better dance moves at a club after someone's had a few vodka cruises than that. And I don't want to be disrespectful to her. Shout out, you represented your country, but how?
Did you?
I've got no idea.
I think Australia did so well in the Olympics and so many things, and then it kind of just, I don't know, puts a bit of a mockery about it. You know, the achievements that everyone else kind of got. Like, I know a lot of people are supportive, and she went out there and it was a lighthearted and it was fun, and trying to really perk it up. It's the Olympics. This isn't just a Saturday afternoon down with your friends. Like, this is the pinnacle of athleticism. This is like the best of the best. You put out the best of the best. She took someone else's spot. That's what I'd say. Like, someone else could have done something pretty amazing out there, and now everyone's just laughing. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it at all, to be honest.
Oh,
I agree. Did you watch the medals for the breakdancing? Did you see? Nah, no. So we've all got stuck on how poor and how horrible Ray gun was. But if you actually watch the medal battles, it's funny to say the battles, they were actually pretty good. And it was the skill and the talent and the way that they can hold their bodies and do what they were doing was pretty bloody good. Just unfortunately, we were represented by a flapping fish out of water. I don't know what the hell, like a kangaroo, and this little thing that she did while she's laying on the ground, like, it was incredible. And and unfortunately, she's just given a horrible name for the sport. Well, I wouldn't say sport, but for the event that was there. I don't agree with it being there, but I'm a traditionalist with the sports and the Olympics, and I love the Olympics. It's a big deal in my house and what I do, and it has been my whole life. No, I had to remind you every day, Joel.
Every half an hour.
Like, if you actually sat down and watched even the men, and even the worst ones of the men, like, they were, it was incredible watching them. Just unfortunately, our ray gun athlete has been the Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, and everyone's meme.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it was one of the last events of an Aussie being involved and stuff. So it's like we kind of remember that more than the girls who were so good at the pool. Like, we had our record medal tally for the women at the pool, and they were sensational. And again, shout out to all the athletes. They did such a great job, and it was so good. It was the reason why I kept making myself sort of stay up for things, because I really wanted to support those athletes, and I love that sort of stuff. I'm with Trav. I kept joking around with him, but I love it. I love the athletic side of things, having that background myself. So I always love watching those sprints and that. And after watching that sprint documentary as well, I think we all got around it a lot more. So it was perfectly timed. Great advertisement for them. But there's a few questions up there regarding the Olympics, but we'll try and get back to the footy side of things, and I'll save them and I'll get back to them at the end of the episode. One that, that I was meant to star that one, not show it. So click the wrong button. That one that's on the field, I guess off the field though, it's footy related. The little troll thing. Obviously everyone has seen it now, and He's been busted with some substance that looks like white sort of substance in a picture. Make of it what you will and what you think it is. It's up to you. I'll just say this on this matter because nothing's been proven yet, so we can't really talk too much about it. We can just give our opinions and thoughts. I say this every time this sort of event pops up. First of all, to the person, and there's been rumors out there today, which I think I've shared around to our groups of the boys, probably read it and stuff now, but from who it supposedly could be, that person has been in a bit this year at the club level. So I don't know what that person's doing who's related to him, but that's and just pull your head in while you're taking photos of that stuff. You're clearly interested in one thing and one thing only, and I think it's pretty disgraceful. Secondly, these footy players just need to be better. I keep saying it each and every time. Like, they're young, they're going to do this stuff. We all get it. We understand how it works, and we've all been that age at one time in our lives, whether we went into that sort of stuff or we didn't. But we've all know someone who's probably done something. Just be better. Like, the money that you've got, if someone comes in, put your phone away, lock it up. There's no need for it out. Go lock yourselves in a penthouse suite or something for the night. Do what you need to do, away from the public, away from anyone. Come back the next day, everything's back to normal, everything's good. There's no need to be doing this stuff, guys, around people. Your lives are such a privileged life. You need to be respecting this so much more than I think. And look, majority of the players are doing such a great job. And even Latrell, he does some really good things for the kids and the Indigenous community. I know that. I understand that. But you just got to make some better decisions, boys. Like, just one little event can just destroy everything you've done. Boys, do you have anything you want to say on that matter? Or
it's a very short window, these boys have got in that sort of spotlight too. Like, being at the first grade level, playing for the NRL, like, okay, you get some of them out there that they'll get their 300 games and they're legends, and like, props to them. But you look at the careers they had, and they're pretty disciplined about it. Like, you don't get that far in the sport without putting the effort in. And then some of them, they'll burn quick and they'll be in for 2-3 years and they'll disappear. But when it doesn't even need to be the status and the level of Latrell. Like, just have given the opportunity, like, it's not going to last forever. You get to 30, you get to early 30s, and it's all over. You know what I mean? Like, you've got 5 years, good years. Make the most of that, and just do what you want to do afterwards. You've got a long life ahead if you want to play around, be silly buggers. But I don't know. I just don't really know what more to say. To be fair, it's not going to stop. It's just put your bloody phones away.
100%. 100%. Trav, got any final words on this one?
Yeah, no, I disagree. There's enough education in the world. They've all been to school. They've got daily education. They've got media people. They've got all sorts of resources and all sorts of people at the clubs to teach them what to and not to do. I completely disagree. I have no time and place for that sort of thing, unfortunately for me. Yep, okay, I've never done it myself, but I have been around it, as you said, Joel, but I made those choices and other people have made. You can make those choices. I don't agree with it. But we talk about these guys being privileged, right? They work their asses off to get to where they're at. So yes, but they are privileged because of how big the sport is and us as a sporting culture in our country. But there's enough education for them not to be doing this stuff. Like, it just, So I don't have any sympathy for it. I think the full, if it comes out as proven as that's what he's done, and that's, which it shows that that's what he's done at the moment, but we don't know. It could be in anything really, but you don't know. So I'm not going to make assumptions, but I just have zero sympathy for any of that sort of stuff. I agree with what you said, Joel, about the person who took the photo, and obviously that person has one agenda and one agenda only. And I get that, but don't put yourself in the stupid situation in the first bloody place, and it's not a problem. Like, I have zero sympathy for any of it.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And I just want to tell people out there about a certain thing, and I just want to relate it to something that I've done in the past and how I sort of see these things and why I've sort of got similar views to sort of what Trav was saying. And I agree 100% with what he said. And it looks like a few of you in the comments are the same, but I used to do athletics back when I was 18, 19, 20, like really young years where all my mates, majority of them were going out partying and things like that. I knew then, and I wasn't doing it at an Olympic level. I was getting up in the grades. I was starting to make some of the A meets and race against some of those guys, but I knew what I needed to do to get myself up to that level. I cut out my drinking for 9 months of the year. I would not touch a drop. So if my mates were going out, I would go, but I would drive. So I would always make that decision myself because I wanted to get the best out of what I was passionate. I'm one of those people where if I go into something, I'm going in 100%. I know what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve, and I was doing that as my option at the time and my passion and my, I guess you could say, hoping it was a career move, but didn't turn out that way. But I went all in on that, and I wasn't making a single cent with what I was doing. If anything, it was costing me money. It was costing me flights, etc., and money each day to train and stuff and buy the equipment and stuff. And I took it that seriously. So I don't buy the whole like players need to be better educated and stuff. No, they need to educate themselves and know that they're in something that is a career move for them. We've seen players in, like, look at James Graham that now. They're made, and Den and Kemp and stuff. They've got themselves set for life now because of the game, and they've done the right thing in the game. Now they've got their podcast and stuff, their brand. They're set for life. These are what players need to understand. This platform of rugby league can set them up so well. I wish I had it. I wish I got that sort of thing. I bet we all do. And that platform to help set us up for, like, they won't have to, if they're smart with what they do in the next 15 years of their NRL career, they won't work a day in their life. They won't work a proper job in a day of their life. So just please, guys, be better. You have such a privileged life. Just please be better with it. Couple of
oh, sorry, go.
No, go.
Especially Latrell Mitchell, because he is such a good dude. Like, in my opinion, he's a good dude, and he has such a big play in the First Nations community. He's just got so much say and so much sway. Like, I look at kids and at school who literally look up to this fella and think how good he is, and then he just lets himself down by doing something like that. And that's not alone. It just, it's just so disappointing. And then I look at it too on my own face of being a dad of myself with two young girls and thinking, like it makes me worried. I worry for what's going to happen as they get older and how this drug culture continues. I just, it's scary and it worries me, and it's but I have no sympathy for it. And there's enough education, there's enough conversation, there's enough people and resources in these professional clubs, and all of them before came through pretty decent semi-professional and professional junior clubs and things too. So there's been all this education for a very long time. So to me, there's just absolute no excuse, and it worries me as a dad.
So it's a horrible example too for that kind of status, especially someone so polarizing. Like, a lot of people, like you said, especially in the school side of things, they do look up to him. Like, kids want to fashion their game off him. Like, he's massive, especially culture-wise. He's such a big part of the community. It's just it's bad influence. But
and the thing, one final thing, I'll keep saying, I'll say one final thing on it. One thing I hate, because I've know people that have gone down this path, you don't have to play at the NRL. If you love your footy, you can just keep playing your park football. If you don't want to be in the spotlight and the limelight and be treated as that figure of the kids are looking at you, you're in the spotlight. If you don't want that life, don't have it. Don't think you can have one part of the fancy life and not have the other part of it. It all comes as a big package, especially these days. I know people back when I was living down the coast, there was a couple of guys who were absolute freaks, and they had NRL contracts on the table for them, and they kept saying to the clubs, I don't want it. I don't want that life. I'm happy playing here with my mates, working and stuff. And that was their decision. They knew that they couldn't handle that. And that was, I respected what they're looking back on it now. I respected what they were doing, because fair enough, fair play to you. So, but that's that on that. Andrew, just with your 100-meter sprint stuff, we're going to get to it. We're going to do something a little bit differently, because everyone's been saying pretty much the same top three for everything. So I think it'll just be a bit boring. We're going to talk about a relay. So stay tuned for that one. That is coming up. A bit about in the news. We've started to do this each week so far. Just talk about some of the big news topics, especially signings wise, in the NRL this week, and give our say and our views on it. So first of all, Val Holmes confirmed today a 3-year deal with the Dragons starting on next year. Thoughts on the signing, boys? We'll just spend like 30 seconds each. Thoughts on these ones. Good signing, bad signing, Jesse? You're down
I'd
that
say
way, so it was a bit of a buzz. You're too busy.
yeah, too busy. I'm not following the Dragons at all. But what is it, $850 a year for 3 years?
Something like that. That's been reported. You don't know how
big
true
money,
these are,
man.
but
Big money.
Is this Val Holmes? That's Val
It's
Holmes.
Val Holmes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2.5 mil over 3 years, isn't it? That's what it was announced as.
It's hefty, man. Big money. I suppose they need to pay up, but like he's good. He's had a bad year, according like form wise, super coach wise, never a problem. But I don't think Flano's playing super coach when he's paying that some sort of money to someone. So look, they need to fill the hole that Lomax is going to leave. I think overall, it's a step back from Lomax for the long term what they could have had. But again, you know, he can kick a ball. He's quality. He's got, you know, his rep level, that sort of stuff. Like, it's definitely a good signing. He's going to be a big improvement to the club. I just think it's big overs.
yeah. Trav?
I love it. I love everything about it. I think they had to get someone to replace Lomax. They've got to get someone to keep the club in the news. They've got to get a big marquee polarizing dude, and they've got him. And I love it. I love it. I love that for the Dragons. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't mind it for the Dragons' point of view. I do agree with what Jason's saying in terms of being a replacement for Lomas. I think it's a little bit below now in the pecking order in terms of especially their form this year. But at the same time, the Dragons have never been able to sign these sorts of players. So I think it's huge credit to Shane Flanagan. He's able to get not just him, he's been able to get Damien Cook as well. They're both for mine. Look, the third year is probably dicey, but I think you can get a good 2 years out of both of them at least. So if that's all they need. Like if they can get the Dragons up to edge of the top 4 spot or something with Hunt there for the next year or two as well, you never know. You never know with those sorts of experienced players. They're very, very valuable to those sorts of squads and teams. Next one up, Penrith Panthers confirmed Blaze Talangi signing. It was reported when it first happened in the Eels. Granted the release or let him go, couldn't keep him, that he was going to the Panthers. That was now confirmed. It's rumored he'll be playing 5'8" next year. Trav, thoughts on the signing and the positional, position he'll play? I don't know where I was going then.
I don't really have an opinion on his position that they think they're going to put him at 5'8". So I don't know. I haven't seen him play that spot. I've only seen him play fullback and on the centers or in the wings for Para. So I don't really have an opinion. I'm not sure. I feel like he's actually going to be any good in that spot, but he is playing for Penrith, so that it's a system there, and he's young, so obviously they think they can meld him into that and work on that. I like the signing for Penrith. They've lost a lot of fellas over the last few years. They're going to lose more again. I like that signing for him. I hate it for Para. I think Para needed to do everything and anything they could to keep him. That was one of the things that they really should have prioritized that and literally said, here, have whatever you ask for, mate, because this is your club. But I think that's a poor loss. But I love that for Penrith. I just don't know if I feel him in that spot. But again, it's the system.
Jesse?
I love it. I think he's going to be a fantastic 5'8" next to Cleary. Honestly, I'm so excited to see him next year. I think he's going to look great in black. He's going to look great in pink. He's going to kill it for that club. I think he's going to be world class, dead set. Honestly, there's just something about it that looks. I know, like, it sucks on an Eels perspective to lose quality like that, but it just seems so right for him. I think, and like, you get to play next to Cleary, and if he's going to be the 5'8" long term, I think coming up through the grade, I think even at Westfields he was a 5'8" too. So he spent a lot of his early days playing 5'8". So, man, I just think it's going to be a fantastic move for him. I can't wait to see what's in store. Honestly, I think he's going to be a gun. Well, he's a gun. I think he's just in a good side. He's going to excel. Yeah, he's going to shoot through the roof.
It's very scary. Like, obviously from a Parramatta point of view, first I'll attack that one being the Parramatta fan here that everyone knows I am. It sucks. I understand why he left though, because as Jesse pointed out and has touched on, he's been a 5'8" for so long now. In the juniors coming through, he's always been basically that playmaker. He started to branch out of that this year. He's clearly, for mine, struggled with a lot of that fullback play that people thought he wanted to play. It was never the case. I can probably now confirm that I was told some stuff earlier, knowing some people that know him and he never wanted to be a fullback. He went to the club at the start of the year and said he's happy to help out there with if Gutho ever was to get hurt or something this year and he'd do the team thing, which he did. He's just obviously has struggled. He's only young though. So who knows? We might be talking about him in 5 years' time saying he's made that fullback move and he's tremendous at it. But tell you what, next year, we always think that the Penrith Panthers finally are going to go down a few positions on the ladder, but when you put him up against Cleary, that is one scary pass pairing. And the other thing is people quickly have forgotten Jack Cole. Jack Cole's there at the moment, and anytime he's had a chance to come into that position, he's excelled this year, I thought. He's very, very good player as well. So having those two battle that out all next year next to Cleary is just, if I was a Panthers fan, I'm licking my lips and saying if they can get it done this year, honestly, I wouldn't have even put it past them going 5. It's getting to the ridiculous stage at the moment. So next one up was South Sydney signing Ewan Aiken. So obviously the first few are huge names. This one probably went under the radar a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I love this signing. It's a very handy acquisition for this Bunny side that I think this year they've missed a lot of those sorts of players who just go under the radar and just do what they need to do. And it's such a Wayne Bennett signing. It's no doubt I'm not surprised that he's followed Bennett to where he's gone now. And he's been so good for the Dolphins this year. He's one of their very unsung players for him. He can fill in at center if need be. He's now a very good quality edge back rower as well. Love it. Jesse?
Yeah, me too, man. I think it's just a perfect signing for him too, especially like a Bennett thing. But he's been around. He's played under Bennett for a while. He's a quality back rower and a center. And like you look at the Rabbits side, they have had issues with their back line all year. They seem to be throwing in Milne and they'll throw in Richie Kenner and then they've got to put Gago through. Like it's not pretty to look at. And if they can just shore it up with Aiken if necessary, if they need to, it's locked in and it's solid and it looks good. Or you can put him in the second row. Let Duncan Players trade for another year. You know what I mean? Like they just lost Arrow. That's obviously going to be his position. But just having that utility factor and playing under Bennett, I think it's going to be one of the most important signings the Rabbits make for a while. So
I agree. Work ethic and stuff. He's just world class in that department. Trav?
Yeah, uncompromising in defense, and can do it and can do an attack and loves a try. So yeah, I think he's just going to play that role really well in the South team, and he matches pretty much everything morally and ethically and game style that Wayne Bennett loves and preaches. So yeah, I just think that's a very, as you said, underrated signing. He's a gun. The only issue and concern I've got is just injuries. The pec is hard to come back from. And particularly in this sport, it's a really hard one to come back from. So that worries me. And obviously Aiken has a history of injury. So that does concern me. But it's a very underrated signing. I think they signed him for 3 years too. So
yeah, they have.
Yeah. And I think he's still got at least that 3 years of decent, really good footy. And I also think that the Souths are able to, they can build around him too. So he doesn't have to be the dude that the Dolphins tried to hope that they were going to get from him. So I think he fits in perfectly.
And the funny thing is a lot of contracts at the moment are 3 years. It's trying to get players either just after that new team arrives, so it saves teams having to try and really up their offers to keep players. It's very smart recruitment. Just keep an eye on that one because we will talk about the Western franchise shortly. But yeah, the rumors are that the new side will be coming in 2027, which is when most of these contracts that are currently getting signed will expire that end of that year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That'll be a huge signing spree, that window. Before we move on, I just wanted to quickly touch on this comment from Brendan. Does James Hooper have a hat with players and club and just a hate with players and club and just creates a rumor? This is obviously about Parramatta, and I've seen a lot of Para fans talking lately about James Hooper and he hates the club, blah, blah, blah. And I want to say one thing about this because I love this club. This club means everything to me, will always mean everything to me. I find it so funny that our fans are so quick to change their views with things. They've been crying out for a media personality to go hard at this club for almost 12 months now. They've seen things happening, especially the last 3 to 4 months. They've really wanted someone to come out hard and support the fans who don't want these head honchos there anymore. Hooper was the first one basically to come hard at this club, and now they're going and claiming he hates the club after basically doing what you've been asking for so long now. I just find it so funny, and it's typical of Parramatta fans, I feel like, at the moment. It's quite embarrassing, if I'm being brutally honest. I sometimes just look at things and cringe. There's rumors getting out. There is leaks at that club. I'm telling you right now, there is leaks at the Eels club, and if you think Hoops is just blatantly making things up, you've got rocks in your head, because I've got no doubt he has some sources. So that's just what I want to say on that, because I keep seeing things and it's doing my head in, because you want one thing, Para fans, and then you get it, and then you whinge about it and you want to go back. It's same with Brad Arthur. Everyone wanted him gone, and he's gone, and now everyone's saying, "Oh no, we should have left Brad Arthur." Like, come on. Anyway, moving on. That's my power rant for the night. Jesse mentioned it, and it's time we talk about it. The Kyle Flanagan suspension, 4 weeks. Do we think this is fair, harsh? Time to dig into this one a little bit, because there's been some. I don't want anyone on the fence. I want people to come out hard, because I feel like we're gonna open some things up tonight. I have a feeling, Jesse.
I honestly don't know what to think about it. Like, he didn't go out of his way to bite someone's nose. You know what I mean? Crichton stuck his nose in his mouth, essentially. How do you put a time frame on that? You know what I mean? And not punish Crichton at the same time for getting amongst it. Like, I really don't know. I don't know where it sets a precedent. I don't know if it's been done before, where someone's bitten someone's face and they've gotten a certain amount of suspension and they've used that. I honestly have no idea. I'm the last person you want to ask the opinion for. I just think, like, it was a bit dumb. Obviously, people have bitten people in other sports as well, and you always look back and go, "What the friggin' hell did you do that?" That's such a weird thing to resort to doing. Like, but again, like, in the situation, he's literally laying on his back on the floor with a head in his face. So it's like, okay, he clicked it. He had enough. He didn't want to be right there in that moment. And his first response was to take a bite. And you got to get punished for it. But is 4 weeks the amount of time that's going to teach him a lesson? I don't know. Should it have been longer? I honestly don't know. I don't think it makes a difference. But at the same time, yeah, exactly right. I don't think you can suspend one and not the other for at least instigating. Because if it was a different story, if he was up and about and he bit him in play during a tackle on top of him, aggressively, okay, fair enough, punish. But he didn't go out of his way. I don't think he woke up, went to the stadium, started training and said, "I'm going to bite someone today." Like, I don't think it was ever crossed his mind. So very, very unusual situation. But what are your thoughts, man? Honestly, I don't know where to go from this one.
It's a tough one, because, as you said, like, if you bite a player, there needs to be a punishment involved. And I feel like it's because the Dogs are on such a run at the moment, and they've got all these media personalities behind them, and which means everyone just is in sort of bulldog mode at the moment and loving what they're seeing from them. And fair enough, they're great on the field, but for this one, Crichton's got to take something for this. You can't be on like we've seen in the past, a player, I think it was the start of this year, literally got sent for in the bin because he done the whole facial massage thing into the ground, and you can't do that. Now he's on top of him, not using his hand, but he's using his head. He knew what he was doing, just getting in and amongst him, just being a grub. And nothing at him, and a 4-week suspension. Like, from what we've heard from how Kyle was feeling, whether he was or not, but if that's how he was literally feeling, like he felt like he was suffocating and just felt over, like he was on top of him and stuff and just couldn't breathe, what else is he going to do? Like, he had his eyes closed the whole time. So I believe, like, he probably knew what it was. He did clench down. So he's done the wrong thing, but 4 weeks is bloody harsh. I don't agree with 4 weeks. I think maybe 2 weeks. But I would have given Critter probably a 1 week as well, because he instigated that, and there's just no need for that crap in the game. It's just grubby crapness. Trav?
I reckon I said this on the very first podcast I ever did with you guys about halfway through the year, is like the people getting away with things. Like, Critter got away with it. Like, he's gotten away with this, and it's rubbish. I think it's absolute rubbish. And I'm so sick of seeing the retaliator be the one that gets punished for it. And I also feel for Flanagan too. Like what Crichton did to him, in my mind, is almost as bad. And he, in that moment, felt the only thing I can do is bite. Now he said in his evidence giving that he didn't actually bite, and based off the video that I saw, I can't see it actually fully do that. But so I don't have the definitive evidence on it in my own eyes, but they have. I also find it quite rubbish that the judiciary said that they wanted to make a statement out of this and send a clear message. I just think that's piss poor, and I think and it's not the right moment to send a clear message. It's not the right suspension to send a message. Absolute rubbish. I thought that by the judiciary to say that, and I really feel for Flanagan for it. I agree. I think maybe 2 weeks, but maybe 1. But I also agree that Crichton should get something too, because you're right. That was grubby, and that was rubbish too.
I'm glad you brought that, because I completely forgot. I had it written down in my notes to bring it up, because I seen it on 360 tonight when they spoke about that and said that. But seriously, we've seen worse bites in the past, more malicious bites, and I've got no doubt we'll probably see 1 or 2 in the future. And it's not something we want to see, but that wasn't on purpose. That wasn't one that you make an example out of. It wasn't a textbook. He's gone and taken a chunk out of his ear or something. He's gone and chased after him and bit him. Like, that's the ones you set an example out of. This isn't right. The one.
And there's been so many incidents this year that they could have really put a stand down as a judiciary and said, here's the message, it's clear cut, we're going to send you here, and you've got 4 to 6 weeks. But to use that as a clear message and give 4 to 6 weeks, or 4 weeks is what they did, it's a joke. To me, that's a joke.
I do agree with that. Jesse, do you have an opinion on this one from Brendan? Crichton was a no-show, obviously, to give any of his say, and from what we were told on NL 360 tonight, for those that have watched it, apparently Crichton originally was going to make the complaint. Once they told him he'd have to give evidence, he then said, no, I don't want to proceed. But then it's continued to go on. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think he probably realised that if he has to go there, he's probably going to cop a suspension as well. And the best thing for him to do for his own...
again.
Yeah, watch out. Watch out. I think, honestly, that's probably what would have happened. He's like, if I have to go there and front evidence and explain why I had my head in his face and try and get off that way, they're going to come and give me a week or 2 off as well. The best thing for him to do for his own well-being was not show up. Trav makes the point too. Like, it's not the situation to set an example for. And now that they've done this, they've done it themselves, and they're going to have to, they've made their bed essentially when it comes to this sort of thing. So obviously people aren't going to do it again. Like, people aren't going to go out and bite intentionally. It's very, very rare that you see it in general anyway, but I just think it's not the situation to be punishing someone. It's not like he intended to, but he still did. So
as I said, I do feel for Flanagan. Like, I agree he needed to get a suspension. I just think he's basically rubbed out of the season now, and if the Dragons don't make finals, which we don't want the judiciary to take into account at all, but I just think it's pretty harsh for what happened there, and the instigator, in my opinion, the one that was on the ground originally, got nothing. It just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Next up, the Western Bears have been confirmed. That's the name they'll run with. We haven't had any official confirmation that they're going to be the next team in the comp, the 18th team, but look at everything. It seems like everything bar the official announcement has happened. So I'm going to pretty much say we're going to see the Western Bears as the next franchise over in Perth, play the majority of it, have the Bears name, have the Bears colours with a hint of yellow, I believe. They'll play 1 or 2 games a year. One of those will be a preseason at North Sydney Oval to help keep those Bears fans in and involved with the game, which I love to see. Brad Arthur, is a front runner for the coach. We'll see what else happens there. Wayne will be 90 years old by then, so he might still want a gig and be the inaugural coach. It seems to be his thing. But thoughts around this one, boys? Do we like the Western Bears, the name? Do we like the fact that they're the team coming into the comp. Trav, do you like the Perth situation?
Yeah, look, I'm on the fence with this one. I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on the Perth. I know, yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. I'm not sold on it. I think there's too much competition with the West Coast Eagles and Fremantle over there in that with also then in the NBL with the Perth Wildcats being such a powerhouse club in the NBL. I just don't know if there's space for another big time professional sport in a sport that's not overly played there either. So local talent might be quite difficult to grow and get through. I'm not sold on it. And I'm particularly not sold on it because they're taking, and I hate it actually, I'll say that, because they're taking away from my Storm and their reserve club. But so I hate it even more.
There's the real reason he doesn't like it, guys. Jesse, your opinions on this one?
I love the name. I'll put it that way. It's a great name. Nothing wrong with it. But look, I never think it's a bad thing introducing a sport, a code into a new area that doesn't have it. Like, there'd have to be fans over there. There'd have to be. Like, you got, like, Trav's wearing a bloody Packers jumper, and he's obviously nowhere near it. So, like, obviously they're in Perth. I think realistically, Perth's probably further away.
But they don't have a professional team down here, man.
Well, exactly right. But they don't have a professional NRL team over in Perth, and I'd guarantee there's people that watch it and want to play.
Oh, you're good, Jesse.
Enough to hold a key and hold a club alive. Like, I would have put you could have put it in the South Island of New Zealand. There now you're touching on lots of people with a big interest.
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't think Perth is the right place for it. But yeah, all to them.
Yeah, like, you know what? It's so far away too. Like, it's obviously everything that we've got in this entire country is down this edge of the coast. Perth is further away from us than New Zealand is. So, like, that travel's going to suck. But there are teams that are used to it. And I just think it can never be a bad thing having another team, another area that has nothing to do with it. Like, I don't watch the AFL, but if they've got a massive AFL following, that's all they've got. And it's like, okay, well, if I want to play this kind of game, then this is the only thing that I can strive for, because this is the only clubs that I've got here. So you introduce something new, there's opportunity. And it's not a bad thing ever, I don't think.
Man, I'm eager to see. There's a bit of money in that town, let's be honest, a lot of 100%. Mining and stuff. So I feel like if the money was in the game was around back when the Western Reds and that were there, they would never have folded. So I think there's always been a place in the game for them. They just needed a little bit of help at the time, and they weren't able to get that with the NRL not having what they have these days. And I'm on the camp of I'm pretty happy for this. I'm pretty keen, actually. I'm excited. I feel like we've seen the Dolphins do well, really get into a heartland that needed to be hit. And I feel like Perth are the same. Like, every time we've taken a game there, I know they've been one-off games and they're easier to sell out and stuff. And I'm not going to claim the Bears will have sellout games every time they play. That's just unrealistic and won't happen, not the Warriors. But they'll have good crowds. I think they'll do enough to survive. The trouble is the players, I feel like, because Perth, as you've both said, it is a bit away. It's what 5-hour plane ride, 4-hour plane ride.
It's a 5-hour ride.
5 hours. So it is a bit. It's going to be. I'm interested to see the first year and stuff, the impact it has on the team backing up after the Perth trip the week after, and see how much that impacts those teams, because that'd be a bit of an away trip, and I'm keen to see how they sort of work that. If they try and let Perth have a few home games in a row or something to minimize travel, and then have them have like 2 away games in a row, so they can, instead of coming back over to Perth, they just stay on the road and stuff. It's going to be interesting. There is some things to play, but if I'm being brutally honest here, if I'm choosing out of them and PNG at the moment, I'm choosing the Western Bears every single day of the week. I sort of have Trav's feelings around PNG at the moment. I don't get the PNG at all still. I think that has a lot of red flags that have been completely ignored at the moment. Do you prefer PNG or Western Bears, Trav?
If I had both, I would pick Perth way before PNG. And what I don't like about PNG is the amount of money that they wanted to put into it, when there's so many things that needed to be fixed here before we go over there and do that. I don't like that. So if I had a choice to literally answer that question, I would go Perth. But yeah, I don't like the Perth idea.
Yeah. Yeah, Brendan, I mentioned that earlier. They'll have, I think, 2 games. I think what it is at the moment, or what's been roughed out, is one will be a preseason game and one will be an actual in-season game at the moment. So who knows? Nothing's been completely locked in, but that's the rumors doing the rounds. Do we agree Bears being the team out of Perth, or should it have been a brand new team completely? I personally think that having the Bears fans have always been around. This is the thing. Like, they've been out of the comp now for what, 20 plus years, and there's, you walk in the street, you'll always see a Bears fan. It's crazy. You'd think they're in the comp still. So I feel like they just had to bring it back somehow, and it was impossible to have them back in Sydney. That's, the market's overinflated as it already is, and you couldn't do it. So this was the next best option, in my opinion. Do you boys agree, or do you want it to be a brand new franchise?
No, I think it's smart for them based off where they're going and what they've got with the club over in Perth to have such a big following in a team with the Bears and all North Sydney Bears. So I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, pretty much, basically exactly what you just said. Yeah, from a marketing point of view, it just makes sense. But yeah, you got something that everyone knows. It's familiar with the community. Why start something different?
Josh, it could be. For those podcast listeners, do you think the fact it is far away from Sydney might actually be a positive? Way less media, and they can walk around without being bothered, like Melbourne, but not shit. Well, I'm thinking he's not talking about the club. He's talking about Melbourne as a whole, and I agree. Melbourne is a bit of a shell after being there a couple of times in the last month or two. It's freezing at this time of year and just nothing going for it. But you're probably right. Like, that's probably a good thing for that club, especially to start with the first few years, to be a real tight-knit group will be what they need moving forward. And I'm really looking forward to, I'm just really looking forward to seeing how it happens. And I always, like, people have always questioned and we can probably quickly talk about this one as well, the depth at the moment. I actually think there's an incredible amount of depth at the moment. There's a lot of younger kids coming through. You launched the New South Wales and Queensland Cup games and stuff. There is a lot of talent out there that just aren't getting a go to prove. Like, we've just seen it with Trey Fuller at the Dolphins. He's come through and been one of those talented players. There's a number that off the top of my head I can't think of, but if I sat down, I could make a huge list up just from this year alone. So I think there's plenty of players out there that aren't getting the game time that there's. Like South Sydney, for instance, Tallis Duncan. For mine, he's ready to play first grade week in, week out, and probably a starting second row position. He just can't at the club he's at. So Siwa Wong for the Roosters, another one. There's plenty of talent out there, and I think we've got room for another team or two at least in the next 3 to 4 years. What do you boys reckon on that one, Trav?
Yeah, I do agree. I don't know if there's enough for 2. I reckon there's definitely enough for 1, but I'm not sold on 2. And I think this will make 20 teams, won't it, with the Western Bears? So I like that.
It'd be 18. 18.
So.
The plan is 20 in the next 5 to 6 years, I believe.
So they want 3 more teams.
Yeah.
So they think there is, but I don't. I think there's probably enough for 1. Like, have a look at Para at the moment with a few injuries. Have a look at West Tigers and where they've been for a while. Have a look at how hard it's been for the Bulldogs to get to where they're getting. Have a look at how everyone whinges about how good all these high-profile clubs are, and they continue, like the Roosters, and the continuous influx of players coming into the Roosters because the big clubs always continue to be good because they keep getting everyone. I think that stands for the fact that I don't think there's enough for that many teams.
Bloody Roosters, the sombrero, Jesse.
Yeah, I think one more club will be fine depth-wise. I think another 3 in the next 5 years is going to really stretch them thin. I don't think that they're going to be very quality sides, especially coming into a pretty established competition. But it doesn't even need to be young players that there is excess of. Like, you've got like Ruben Porter from the Tigers. He's 27, starting through this season. You know what I mean? Jake Tungo, he's not young.
Yeah.
He's the older brother to Isaac. And these guys are getting a run out now. And Trey Fuller is a good example too. You mentioned him before. They don't need to be 18, 19-year-old, Chevy Stewarts coming through the grades. Like, there are that level of talent, and there are clubs with excess of them who can't play them. I think the Raiders have abundance of them at the moment. They've got Kyle Weeks at fullback and Stewart in the ranks to come. They've got Rapana there. They've got Ethan Strange. Like, they've got plenty. And now they've just got and put Sanders in, and they got Fogarty, and now they got Cook. Like, there's clubs that are stacked, loaded, and you'll see these kind of players move to these new clubs. and they'll fill them quite
Yeah.
well. I think it's pretty much how the Dolphins ran when they started up too. Get a couple of
Yeah.
key players, a couple of marquee guys, experience, and then just fill the squad through with some players that you can get essentially. But I think 3 is going to really test depth for clubs, but comfortable for a new club. I think one more they could. I'm just keen to see who they actually get. I'm very eager
Yeah.
to see how they start off. Like that's an exciting time to see how a club starts. I think all eyes were on the Finns when like Herbie signed for them. That's huge. So there could be something very similar happen with the Bears there. So I think there's
I agree.
plenty to go
And
around.
I think what it does at the moment as well, if all the NRL clubs right now aren't sitting down pretty much on a daily basis and making sure their junior development systems are in place rapidly, they're going to be left behind once all these teams come out, because you need to make sure you have a very good nursery coming through, because there's going to be a lot of players pinched. There's going to be a lot of talent gone. So you need to make sure you've got them coming up. For mine, Penrith is still ahead of the pack when it comes to that. And there's a lot of teams out there that really need to pick up their act when it comes to that, and be a lot more serious when it comes to junior development. They'll start to see the benefits of doing so. Huge point at the moment. Obviously, the sprint race, which I don't know where it was actually confirmed, but everyone's going off to like it's been basically set in concrete. We're going to have this sprint race on grand final day. I love it. Absolutely love it. I remember being in Sydney when they had one where I think Jared Hayne versus some of the actual other league codes and stuff down at Homebush Park, and the rugby player I think won it that day. But it was great to see it happen. Some of those sporting identities. I'm so keen to see this actual rugby league one. Everyone's talking about the sprint and the fastest. I think we roughly all know like Saab's going to be up there. Addo Carr's going to be up there. The Hammer's going to be up there. Cooler's going to be up there. Like we can go on about the same names. Everyone's saying the same names. So I thought that was boring. Let's not talk about that. I want to talk about a relay, a 4x100 meter relay, and which team we think would be red hot favorites or would take out the relay. I've written down a couple of teams who I've looked at their lineups and I've just thought that's some pretty cool lineups there that would be pretty hard to beat. I'm not going to lock in one yet. I'm just going to give everyone some time to think. So for mine, Manly straight away sticks out to me because of the Cooler and Saab factor. So if they've got 2 other decently quick guys who can just stick with the pack, those 2 will come home really strong. So I've got Cooler, Saab, Garrick, and probably Brooks, who've shown a little bit of speed, especially over 40, 50. He'll need to hang on hard for that last 50.
Brooks.
But
Brooks.
Brooksy boy has a little bit of speed. So
He's got tiny little legs.
For about 10 meters.
Yeah.
all
He's
right, well, I'm just giving examples. Don't shoot the messenger yet. You could have a better Manly lineup. It's all good.
I'm so surprised. You might as well have put bloody Olakau'atu in or something like that instead of Brooks, man. Like go Turbo. Or...
Yeah.
No, but Turbo's not quick. Turbo's not quick at the moment. That's one thing Turbo doesn't have. He's not quick.
He's 100 times quicker than Brooks.
All right, chuck Turbo in instead of Brooks. Then there you go, guys.
Yeah, we'll save you. We'll save you, Joel.
Another one I've got the Broncos. I've got Walsh, Cobbo, Stags, and Mariner. That fourth one, there was a few of those younger kids there. You could probably tuck a few of them in. Storm, Coates, Farlongo, Warbrick, Pappy. South is a little bit of a dark horse. Johnston, Munro. Munro is lightning. I know a lot of people have forgotten about that because he's been out this year, but he's lightning. Gray, Mitchell as well, obviously, if Latrell's there and himself. Anyway, yeah.
Are they running a 100-meter race, mate, or is it a 20-meter race?
Yeah,
it's a 4x100, proper up the length of the football field and back.
Right, so Mitchell's got 40 in him, so South are going to lose that one.
I'm just giving, as I said, I'm giving some examples for everyone to start getting some comments in, and you two to have a think about stuff because you're not very good at planning. So, Jesse, go to you first on this one. You got someone who sticks out at you.
The Titans.
Oh, I looked at them.
Keeney, Khan Pereira, Jaden Campbell. I need a fourth. Jojo.
Yeah. He apparently has a background of it. He used to.
Yeah, he's rapid.
Do a bit. Yeah.
2 games ago, he freaking blitzed them. I just think, between Keeney, Khan Pereira, and Jojo, those boys, they're rapid. They're little bloody Energizer bunnies, surely. Have to give him a
I
run.
don't mind that. Andrew, Roosters, Daniel Tupper, I think you mean. I don't think Tupper has much left in him, unfortunately.
Not really.
Dom Young would be a one-man show. I looked at the Roosters and there wasn't much going. Trav, who are you thinking at the moment?
Well, I don't know what you were looking at, but I kind of cheated. I looked at the Roosters and had a look at so I'm going to bring up the Roosters, but that's not my number one. But I'll bring up the Roosters and I'll go Suwali, Young, is it Porga and Manu. And I cheated because there's a little website that I found when you posted the agenda for today, whilst I sat there pretending I teach, and had a bit of a look, right? And I've got so the top 5 fastest runs that happened in 2023. So they haven't announced the 20. I couldn't find anywhere for this year. Dom Young was the 4th fastest at 36.8 Ks. Suwali's in the top 10. Pogga's in the top 10, in the top 20. So I reckon that based off the kilometers per hour speed, that Roosters team's pretty quick.
Yeah, they are, but they're big boys with big strides too. That's one thing.
30. That's
Boys
just
with
30,
big
40
strides.
meters.
100%. I'd like that's the thing. You get Dom Young up against sub, like
every one of them would easily run 100 meters. There you go, Colin Brooks, gonna beat the fastest, 4th fastest in Manly. And you put up bloody Latrell Mitchell, and he'd run 40 and he'd be gassed.
You know what? There's some speed in the Tigers, boys.
Yeah, Buller. Yeah. Oh man,
Buller, Staines, Galvin. Any of their centers, to be fair, I'm sure.
Hang on, you're not having Galvin if I can't have Brooks. Brooks is faster than Galvin.
No chance. Brooks is faster.
No way.
You're off your head.
Okay. There'd be so many juniors coming through the Tigers that essentially all they have as the athleticism and speed. They really need to work on their game outside of that, but at least they're fast. That's it.
They're just training, just doing sprints.
They're just sprinting, just doing laps. You just get 4 bullers out there.
Yeah, look. Funny. The Sharks would be another smoky too. Mulatalo. Yeah. I reckon Katoa and Ramian would be pretty quick. The Sharks would be a bit of a smoky for that run too.
I don't want to agree with Adam because he did say in our chat today that his vote was going to the Storm boys. He thinks they would take it out. That is a very quick team. I'm actually going to give it to Manly. I just have faith in Cooler and Saab to, as long as they're within about 5 meters of that changeover when they give it to one of those last 2, I think they'll smoke it in. So Manly for mine will take that race. I don't mind the shouts at all. There'll be a post coming out tomorrow, guys. So we'll have a bit of a chat about it and see what everyone's lineups are and who they think.
I'll fix that Storm. I'll fix that forms. I'll fix the Storm list up for you. So it'd be Pappy, Coates, Anderson, and Farlongo, not Warbrick.
Wasn't Warbrick a 7s player bar? He'd be quick.
Warbrick was in the Olympics.
Yeah, he was, but Anderson's quicker than Warbrick. Anderson's quicker than Warbrick.
I would say Anderson takes Pappy's spot at the moment because Pappy's not as quick as he was.
He's still rapid. He's still faster than most, even with he's lost a little bit of pace. He's human now.
I don't know. Warbrick for mine needs a spot.
I'd have Anderson over him.
Warbrick's he's the water boy. He's the guy with the oranges at the finish line.
For goodness me, that's strong.
You put Warbrick in the semi, and then have him, and then have Anderson run the final.
God, I hope they actually do this. I'd love to see this. Honestly,
I love your call. I didn't even look at the Titans. I love that Titans call. Jeez, that's a good one.
Yeah. I reckon the Titans are mad up there. If there was money on it, I would throw a cheeky tenner on the Titans. They're all small. Team. That's the problem. They're just smaller.
Just got to be fast.
That's it.
And last 100 meters, unlike Brooks.
That's that. We'll get to some questions, and then we're out of here, guys. We'll quickly do a couple of minutes of questions. I've saved a few, but if you have any, and you know what we're like on a Wednesday night at this time of night, it doesn't have to be footy-related questions. ask whatever you want. The unfooty related questions are our favorite at this time, but we'll get through a few. Andrew asked a bit earlier, do you think boxing should stay in the Olympics? They've got it out now, I believe. So where's that next one at in
LA.
America? LA, that's right. They're not going to do boxing as well as breakdancing. Breakdancing's gone.
That dumbfounds me, man. Like boxing is huge in the States, and they've now going to have an LA Olympics, and they're going to pull it out. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I actually think that boxing should stay.
Yeah,
I
no reason to get rid of it.
Yeah, the only thing I can see is maybe it's controversial sometimes because it's voted upon. Like it's I don't know. That's all I can think about.
Well, all of them are judged, though. A lot of the events are judged.
Yeah, true. I don't know then. I don't know why they've done it. It should be in there. From Rugby League Daily, we obviously seen us do a couple of collabs with them, and we'll do a few more coming up. I'll message you, actually. We've got to have a chat about some stuff. Rugby League Nines in the Olympics by the time it gets to Brizzy. Well, I think what happens, the home country gets to choose some events. Obviously, they always choose events that they're good at. I'll tell you what, if we're not pushing for that, we got rocks in our heads because we'll win gold for sure. Or at least, actually, you know what? New Zealand probably might get us by then. They've got some great young kids coming through. But, yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome. But I love the rugby sevens as well. That's honestly one of my favorite sporting events. I love watching the sevens, especially at those sorts of scenes and those major events. I think we'd have cricket as well. We'd probably have cricket.
Well, cricket's already is announced as introduced for LA, which I find it interesting.
Well, if they're America, then they don't know what cricket is.
Yeah, that's but I think what they'll do is they'll go the T20. Surely it's a T20.
Yeah,
instead of the 1 days. But and if that's the case, then I can see that definitely in the Olympics because there are Ireland did so well in the last T20 Cup. So I can see the cricket for sure. They want to add. I think the Americans are trying to add fast football or what is something like that. That one of the lower end or smaller NFL games, which is a no-brainer for them. They would smoke it. But I don't like that one. But yeah, I like the cricket choice.
Let's give our 3 sports we'd add to our Olympics. What we would personally choose. So we get to set it up for Brisbane. What 3 events would we have? I'd have
pub sports.
I'd go the Rugby League Nines just because I feel like it gets us a guaranteed gold medal. Thinking on the run.
Are darts in the Olympics yet?
No, dart. What about the scenes? What about the scenes of darts?
180. I'd love to hear that in the Olympics. Get yourself a gold, 180.
Man, actually, you all sold. I love dart culture. How good? Have you watched it properly on it's dart culture?
ESPN?
Is freaking amazing.
It's the best.
I would love
Shane.
that.
I love this one. Putt golf. Love it. Beer pong. Shane's on fire. He's entering for us.
Yeah, honestly, darts, pool.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd go 9 ball.
In the Olympics.
I'd definitely go 9. I'd definitely go 9 ball. I'd go pool, and I actually like the idea of bowling.
10-pin bowling.
Yep. Yeah. Because the thing is, you've got to think of sports that can be male and female, and that are played a lot. Not everywhere, but a lot. There's enough nations to come in it. I also like the idea of something motocross. I'm a bit disappointed there's nothing for motocross. I'd like them to do something for that. Like even some
mind
downhill bike riding or stuff like that. Yeah.
Belly flop competition.
That would be good.
Belly flop competition.
Yeah.
We'd be up there for that one. We've already done the sprint line.
It's the stupidest sport ever. See, I said this to a couple of mates the other day about. I reckon UFC would be a great one for the Olympics. The only problem with the UFC is how they would do it within recovery time and how they would regulate that. But if they could manage it somehow where, they could fit that in over a period of a month or so, that would be great too.
Shane's on a roll.
Honestly, Shane, you're getting man of the match tonight. A footy one. Why would the Eels get rid of RCG, who is their best forward? I think it's just money related. They need to free up some salary cap pressure, and they need to also sell players that other clubs want. And unfortunately, when you're going so badly, your players are less wanted. He's probably one of the only players we've currently got that clubs would be interested in. So he just fits the bill, I think. So, yeah, that's that one.
The big prop's done.
Yeah, pretty much. If Flanagan didn't bite down on his nose, would we still be saying Crichton deserves a suspension?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, the hindsight's funny, and I can answer that question saying that. But yeah, I actually think, I watched that part. And I said to my wife at the time, I feel like that's unfair what he did, and I picked up on it at the time.
People get their head in these things all the time too, and they know that there's nothing that's going to come from it. Like they can't punch, they can't do anything, but they'll always get their head amongst it, and then it's no punishment. And I think Trav made the point before, was like, okay, he got off, and it's always the retaliator that gets punished. It's like you look at Cherry Evans in State of Origin instigating all of that, and then kind of just goes, oh, nothing, and then everyone else gets amongst it, and they all get punished. It's just like it happens too often. And I think there's just, they find these ways they can get around it and get away with it, and they just keep doing it, and it just sort of gets forgotten about. And I think heading in the tackle is always that one. So
yeah, and just last one with this one, Andrew. If we start suspending people for grubby tactics, we're going to have every team half strength because everyone has them. Well, the thing
It'll
is
stop
that you
pretty
won't,
quick, won't
because coach, it'll stop coaches very quickly because there's no doubt in the world they would not want half their team out each and every week. So I actually think suspending it would quickly evaporate it. We've seen it with the punching laws that everyone was like, you can't get rid of the punch. Well, they did very, very quickly. There's a number of things, the chicken wing tackles, all those things, they quickly put suspensions down and they've all quickly evaporated out of the game. So suspensions work because that affects coaches directly and they do not want to lose their best players. Jace, Joel, what players would you be going after to bring the Eels for next year? Or honestly, I just want to fix the back of the house first before we bring in anyone. So, do you think Daly Cherry Evans would have retired this year if they didn't lose Origin? Up the Blues. Oh, well, we don't know. He hasn't come out and said anything yet. He said he's going to talk about that in the off season. So there could be a chance he still might. I'm not too sure there, but that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. Very good, fun, interactive show. Plenty of great talking points. Boys, Trav, you were on fire on debut. I thought you were absolutely sensational.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all the comments and the welcoming. It was great.
You're killing it. Jesse, I know you've had one hell of a day, but no one would be able to tell you have risen up. You've had that smile back on your face, and it's been a pleasure once again to do a Wednesday night with you.
Mate, it's always a good bit of fun, the Wednesday show. Love the comments, love the interaction. It's fantastic. Really so good.
Yeah, and obviously, guys, we don't really get much time with these guys because they are the I guess the back of house in a way, because the super coach stuff never gets a real live look at things. But we also very, very appreciative. I know a lot of people watch our super coach stuff. It continues to build a following, and really appreciate what you boys both do and what you say twice a week now. We're on a Monday and or Sunday, depending on what works, and then a Wednesday night as well with the traders. So we really do appreciate what both of you are doing in that side of things for the page, and really, really do, especially myself and I know everyone else out there with all the help. So thank you, good night, and we will catch you on the next